On May 5th, 2020, multiple residents of Seattle, Washington called the police to report a strange woman roaming the streets, and the witnesses claimed that she didn't appear to be a normal human and displayed extremely unnatural and bizarre behavior. It was almost like she was a zombie. In the viral footage, the woman is seen with half of her head shaved off, wearing only one shoe, and screaming loudly as she walks around erratically. And if you look closely, you can kind of spot a mysterious object in her hand, which, according to the video uploader, was a small pouch filled with blood. As soon as the police were informed about the situation, they immediately arrived at the scene and attempted to take the woman to a hospital. However, even they were unable to determine what exactly was wrong with her. And after the video went viral, numerous theories began circulating online. Some people speculated that she was mentally unstable, while others believed she was suffering from a drug overdose. There were also those who suggested that the entire incident was nothing more than a public stunt. Nearly a year after this bizarre event, a YouTube channel released footage from a police body camera, revealing crucial new details about this case.
Hey, it's okay! Hey! We're trying to help you! You want to tell us what's going on? No, ma'am, have a seat. Okay. Ma'am, what's your name? Is that real blood or fake blood?
Do you see any cuts or anything?
That almost looks like fake blood. What's going on?
Eventually, the police uncovered the woman's true identity, and the entire case was proven to be a fake. The woman herself later admitted that it was nothing more than a staged public stunt. At the time, COVID-19 vaccines had just been introduced, and she had claimed that people would slowly turn into zombies after taking the vaccine. And as a result, she carried out this bizarre act as a form of protest against the vaccines. But in the end, it was nothing more than a publicity stunt that did what it was supposed to by gaining massive attention. However, regardless of her intentions, what she did was deeply disturbing when it first dropped, and probably left an impression that will last forever on everyone who witnessed it firsthand. Our story revolves around Starsfly, a Russian streamer known for gaming content. Well, on December 2nd, 2020, he was live streaming with his girlfriend, Valentina, when a viewer offered him $1,000 to harm his girlfriend and to leave her outside in a freezing cold. Tempted by the money, Starsfly did not refuse. Instead, he began arguing with Valentina on purpose and eventually pushing her out of the house into a brutal -8 degrees Celsius or 17 degrees Fahrenheit cold. He ain't give her a jacket and even poured cold water on her before shutting the door, effectively leaving her to die outside in the cold for just $1,000. After doing this, he casually resumed his stream as if nothing had happened. And all at the same time, Valentina was outside screaming for help. But this man Starsfly showed no concern, even mocking her while on stream. And after a while, her cries stopped. Only then did Starsfly step outside to check on her, finding Valentina unconscious and unresponsive. He quickly brought her inside and called an ambulance, but honestly, man, it was too late. Valentina had succumbed to the freezing cold, her body frozen to death.
Я не впустил ее в комнату, потому что она обосралась в коридоре.
After the incident, the police arrested Starsfly, and he was sentenced to 6 years in prison for Valentina's murder. This is one of the creepiest stories that you've probably never heard before. In 2011, a Russian hunter named Sergey recorded himself spending several nights alone in the vast, desolate forest of Siberia. And before he set out, a fellow hunter had warned him that the area was dangerous and that hunting at night was a bad idea. But Sergey, confident in his experience, just ignored the warning. Apparently he was after the elusive Caspian red deer, a majestic creature standing nearly 5 feet tall, with antlers stretching up to 4 feet in length and weighing between 500 and 700 pounds. Sergey planned to hunt under the cover of night. As he moved through the dense forest, he panned his camera around, capturing the eerie silence of this place. And at one point, he stumbled upon an abandoned hut. Locals claimed its occupants had mysteriously disappeared years ago and were never found again. Sergey scattered some salt to lure the deer and sat quietly in the pitch black night, keeping an ear out for any movement. Soon, he heard the unmistakable sound of chewing, which was his signal to take the shot. But then something changed. The forest around him grew unnaturally silent. A chilling presence seemed to lurk in the darkness around him, just watching. Sergey had no idea that this hunt was about to turn into the scariest night of his life. Take a look.
Ты чё, блядь?
Although it seemed like there were other people in the forest, the truth was that Sergey was completely alone. Like, the nearest village was over 100 kilometers away. So who was making those eerie sounds? Who was chasing him? And why was an experienced hunter so damn terrified? Many believe the culprit was a Chechuna, a mysterious entity from Russian folklore, said to inhabit Siberia, described as a towering 6 to 7 foot tall humanoid, normally covered in dark hair. The Chechuna is often compared to the Yeti or the Bigfoot of the Americas. However, unlike these creatures, it is sometimes said to have a tail and a more Neanderthal-like appearance. Even more disturbing, some legends claim it occasionally feeds on human flesh. Chechuna is believed to live a reclusive life deep in the remote forest, rarely making contact with humans. Whatever Sergey encountered that night, it was enough to send him running for his life. Fortunately, he survived the ordeal and later compiled his footage into a 3-part documentary, with the footage from this chilling night forming the middle segment. And the video wasn't uploaded to YouTube until around 2018, where it sparked heated debates. While much of it is in Russian, and the translations do vary, one thing is clear: Sergey was no amateur. He had something truly terrifying, shook him to his core out there. What do you guys think happened here? The Paranormal Review is a YouTube channel dedicated to analyzing paranormal events, including Bigfoot sightings, Sasquatch encounters, and UFO phenomena. The channel invites viewers to share their experiences for discussion and investigation. In 2015, a woman submitted a chilling video. She and her husband were driving at night in Colorado when they believed they had hit a deer, and concerned, they reversed their vehicle to check. And as they did, The woman recorded footage from their reversing camera, and what they captured was shocking. Take a look at the eerie video and decide for yourself.
Hit something. Hope it didn't hurt the car. Somewhere. Is that it right there? There it is. Oh my gosh, go.
Was it Bigfoot or something else entirely lurking out there? Now, I understand the footage isn't the clearest, as it was recorded from a cell phone that was capturing a reversing camera in a vehicle. However, you can definitely make out a figure running toward the car. The woman who submitted the video believes that this could be Bigfoot. To help you analyze it better, I'm gonna slow the footage down for you, just for a clearer view. The figure has a distinct human-like form, don't it? But is it really Bigfoot though? Could this be just an angry man, a person out there? Or perhaps this was just an elaborate hoax? At around 8 a.m. on July 2nd, 1951, a woman named Pansy Carpenter received a telegram intended for one of her tenants, 67-year-old Mary Hardy Reeser. She went to deliver it to Reeser's apartment, but she got no reply. Now concerned, she tried to open the door, but immediately noticed that the doorknob was unusually hot to the touch. Not really sure of what to do next, Pansy decided to call the police. When officers arrived, they forced the door open, only to be met with a horrifying sight. A sight that would probably haunt them for the rest of their lives. Mary Reeser had seemingly vanished, leaving behind nothing but a pile of ashes scattered across the floor. Officers discovered a portion of her left foot still encased in a slipper, along with fragments of her backbone, and even more disturbingly, reports later stated that her skull had unexplainably shrunk down to the size of a teacup. What made the scene even more puzzling was the condition of the apartment as well. Whatever fire that had reduced Reeser's body to ashes had been contained within an astonishingly small area, leaving the surrounding furniture completely untouched.
We request any information or theories that could explain how a human body could be so completely destroyed while the fire remained confined to such a small area. Even more baffling, there was minimal damage to the structure of the building, and the furniture in the room was neither scorched nor affected by smoke.
Reeser's death became one of the most infamous cases of what is now known as spontaneous human combustion. This rare phenomenon involves individuals mysteriously igniting and burning to ashes without no external fuel source. A similar case occurred in 1966 with physician John Irvine Bentley, whose body was almost entirely reduced to ash, except for the lower part of his right leg. In 1979, another shocking case made headlines when 51-year-old Beatrice suffered the same fate on Thanksgiving in Bolingbrook, Illinois. And while the idea of humans spontaneously catching fire may seem unbelievable, it seems like it's not a hoax, nor just a mere legend as well. One of the earliest documented cases occurred in 1746, when Paul Rowley wrote about the mysterious death of Cornelia Zangari-Mondi. Since then, dozens of similar incidents have been reported worldwide, including a notable case in Sequoia County, Oklahoma, in 2013.
The cause of this house fire is still undetermined, where they found a man dead inside his home, but the sheriff says he isn't ruling out spontaneous human combustion as one of those causes. Investigators say they found a man dead from a fire lying on the kitchen floor, but the sheriff says there were only reports of smoke coming from the house. Fire investigators who have years of experience say they've never heard or seen anything like this before.
I really would like to see the coroner's report on this one after it goes to the state crime lab.
So, what's really happening here? How can a body made up of at least 60% water suddenly ignite? Some theories suggest bizarre explanations like poltergeist activity, lightning strikes, or unknown cosmic forces, and others speculate about a mysterious subatomic particle called a pyron that's believed to trigger spontaneous combustion. Now, either way, this mystery remains unsolved. Most of these bizarre theories are easily dismissed anyways, as they lack solid evidence. However, by closely examining reported cases of spontaneous human combustion, certain patterns do begin to emerge. Many of the victims were elderly, overweight, and had a history of heavy drinking or smoking. Additionally, in several cases, a potential ignition source such as a burning cigarette, stove, or fireplace always seemed to be nearby. Researchers have observed these similarities and proposed the wick effect theory to try and explain the phenomena. To understand this, try to think of how a candle burns, and when the wick is lit, it draws in melted wax, which acts as fuel for it, allowing it to burn for a prolonged period of time. Similarly, the wick effect suggests that an external flame, such as a lit cigarette or an ember from a fireplace, could possibly ignite a person's clothing. Before the clothes could fully burn away, the body's stored fat may have acted like candle wax, fueling the fire until nothing else remained. Since most of the body fat is concentrated in the abdomen and little is stored in the legs, the fire naturally consumes the midsection first. But unfortunately, experiments attempted to prove this theory have been largely unsuccessful. In 2016, the BBC tried to replicate the wick effect using a pig carcass. While the body was thoroughly roasted, the body didn't reduce to ash like the reported cases of spontaneous human combustion. This is because fat-fueled fires don't generate the necessary heat for a full cremation. In 2012, biologist Brian J. Ford attempted to explain the extreme temperatures required. In his paper, Solving the Mystery of Spontaneous Human Combustion, he suggested that factors like alcoholism or low-carb diets produce acetone in the body, a highly flammable chemical also found in paint thinner. Acetone burns at extremely high temps too, potentially reducing a person to complete ash. To test his theory, Ford created a small pig meat puppet, coated them in acetone, and set them on fire. The puppets burned for about 30 minutes, leaving only the legs intact, just like the many other reported spontaneous human combustion cases. Now, if Brian's theory is correct, it doesn't explain why spontaneous human combustion remains so rare. If alcohol and diet were the only triggers, why aren't there more cases of it then? Especially in an era of constant surveillance. The truth remains elusive, but it could be something entirely different from what we currently believe. However, the phenomenon of humans spontaneously catching fire and burning to ash while leaving their surroundings untouched sounds paranormal, sounds unreal. It's only a matter of time before someone uncovers the truth behind this disturbing mystery. The infamous Beirut blast was the largest non-nuclear explosion in recent history. What began as a good day of Isra Sablani's life quickly turned into a nightmare. While posing for her wedding photos in Beirut's Safi Square, a massive explosion shatters the city. Just after 6 p.m. on August 4th, 2020, a fire erupts at a hangar in the port of Beirut, reportedly caused by welding sparks igniting some stored materials there. 9 firefighters and a paramedic rushed to the scene, but they were unaware of the true danger there. At first, they initially assumed the hangar contained some fireworks, but upon closer inspection, they reported back to the command center that something was very wrong. Moments later, an enormous explosion rips through Lebanon's capital, completely devastating entire neighborhoods. This blast, caused by thousands of tons of improperly stored ammonium nitrate, leaves destruction, death, and chaos everywhere, marking one of the darkest days in Beirut's history. The explosion claimed 218 lives, injured 7,000 others, and left hundreds of thousands homeless. Hangar 12 held far more than just fireworks. It stored over 2,750 tons of highly explosive ammonium nitrate. At around 6:07 p.m., a fire broke out in the warehouse, sending thick smoke and soot into the sky. Witnesses reported a burst of light and cascading sparks resembling fireworks, and less than a minute later, a catastrophic explosion occurred, unleashing a massive fireball. A shockwave, moving faster than sound, ripped through downtown Beirut. Footage on social media captured a white dome rapidly expanding over the city, a result of water vapor being forcefully displaced by the immense blast. The devastation left behind was unimaginable. On March 14, 2023, a man in Honor, Spain, was doing his laundry at a laundromat, unaware that he was moments away from witnessing a terrifying and inexplicable event. As he collected his laundry and stepped outside, disaster struck. Seconds later, a violent explosion erupted from one of the machines near the entrance, sending shockwaves through the building. The blast shattered the windows, tore signs from the walls, and sent debris flying in every direction. Had the man remained inside for just a few moments longer, he'd be dead. There's no doubt about it. And when police investigated the scene, they discovered that a customer had left a lighter in their pants pocket. The intense heat of the dryer caused the butane inside to ignite, triggering an explosive reaction. Authorities quickly ruled it an accident, but some skeptics believed that there was more to the story, suspecting a sinister cover-up. Fortunately, no one was injured, but the near-tragic incident forced the laundromat to implement stricter safety measures, placing clear warnings to remind customers to check their pockets before washing their clothes. Deep within YouTube lies a video that has haunted viewers for decades, known as the France catacomb footage. It remains one of the most unsettling pieces of found footage ever discovered. The Paris catacombs, a vast underground network of tunnels. This place houses the remains of over 6 million people, originally limestone quarries. These tunnels were repurposed in the 18th century to store human bodies after Paris cemeteries became overcrowded. Today, while part of the catacombs is open to tourists, most of the labyrinth remains strictly off limits. The grainy footage follows an explorer venturing deeper into the tunnels, surrounded by walls of skulls and bones. At first, seems like a routine exploration until everything changes. His breathing, it quickens, and panic sets in while these endless tunnels are disorienting him. And suddenly he starts running with the camera shaking, and then it falls to the floor. In a moment of pure terror, he drops the camera, leaving it recording as he vanishes into the darkness. To this day, his fate remains unknown, with countless debates over its authenticity. The raw, shaky handheld camera work and the man's frantic breathing makes the footage feel disturbingly real. However, inconsistencies raise doubts. For one, the footage surfaced as part of a documentary, raising questions about its timing and intent. Critics also point out how conveniently the explorer drops the camera at the most intense moment, something that feels more like a deliberate narrative choice rather than a real-life event. If the footage truly were authentic, why was there no known search effort? Why isn't there a missing person case linked to it? I mean, they have the camera and the footage. These unanswered questions fuel the speculation that the video was staged purely to instill fear. Yet, real or not real, the footage has left a lasting impact on those who have watched it, especially for the first time. During the 1980s, Firefighters across England began noticing a bizarre pattern. You see, time and time again, they arrived at homes completely consumed by flames, walls collapsing, furniture reduced to ashes. Yet one object always remained untouched, a painting. And not just any painting, but the same damn painting every time. A portrait of a young boy with sad, sorrowful eyes, known as the crying boy. At first, it seemed like an eerie coincidence, right? But as more homes burned and the same painting was repeatedly found unscathed, people started to believe something more sinister was at play. The crying boy was part of a series of paintings created in the 1950s by Italian artist Giovanni Bragolin, with the pen name of Bruno Amarillo, and it depicts various tearful children. And for some reason, this particular version gained strange popularity in the UK during the 1970s and 1980s. Thousands of copies of the crying boy were printed out and sold in apartment stores. Like homes across the country got them. For years, no one even thought twice about it, until these fires started to happen more frequently. In nearly every case, while homes were reduced to ashes, this painting remained mysteriously untouched. As these coincidences piled up, speculation grew. Some believed that the painting carried a curse, a warning that disaster would strike anyone who brought this shit into their home. The fear reached new heights in 1985, when The Sun, a British newspaper, published an article detailing multiple families whose homes had burned down, all of whom owned the painting as well. The article featured interviews with firefighters, some of whom refused to keep the painting in their own homes. One even claimed that he had tried to burn it himself, only for the flames to leave it unharmed. Now, panic spread quickly, with terrified owners discarding their paintings as fast as they could. We even have people who gathered together for public burnings, hoping to rid themselves of this alleged curse once and for all. The Sun newspaper later organized a mass burning event, urging people to send in their crying boy paintings to be destroyed once and for all to eliminate this curse. But yet, even today, some refuse to keep the painting in their homes, just in case the curse is still there. Theories about its alleged curse range from the supernatural all the way to the bizarre. Some claim the boy in the painting was an orphan whose parents died in a fire, and his spirit seeks revenge. However, a more rational explanation exists. Experts suggest that the prints were coated with a fire-resistant varnish, preventing these paintings from burning. Additionally, the string holding the painting to the wall may have been burned first, which caused the artwork to fall face down, shielding it from the flames. Despite these logical explanations, the logic of Crying Boy still goes on to this day. And while the true cause of the fires remains unknown, this painting's eerie survival continues to fuel speculation and fear amongst the masses.
So you have to make sure it's the real thing, okay? And you have to make sure it's the real thing. So you have to bring some kind of proof.
Imagine coming across a grainy, old-ass VHS-style video featuring a jittery young man nervously explaining how to steal bones from a graveyard. Now, his hands were shaking as he grips a human skull, speaking in a rushed and paranoid tone, as if fearing someone is watching him. This is the grave robbing for morons, one of the most unsettling and mysterious videos ever discovered on the internet.
On this big, alright, if it's a male, you might have lines like that from the baldness, okay? Now, so what you do is you grab it around here. You grab it here and peel it back like that, okay? Peel it back, alright, and it'll pull off, it'll make a disgusting sound. So let's say it's someone important, right? Alright, so you take a sample of the mustache, right? Okay, so you...
The biggest mystery surrounding grave robbing for morons is the identity of the man in the video. The grainy footage shows a young man, likely in his late teens or early 20s, wearing a t-shirt and jeans. He may have a slight speech impediment, stumbling over his words, but his message, it's clear. He's given a tutorial on how to rob some graves. He explains how to locate burial sites, how to exhume the bodies, and even how to carefully remove skulls and bones. I mean, at one point he even holds up a human skull, turning it in his hands, as he describes how to identify and how to clean it. His tone, man, it's unsettling. Sometimes serious, sometimes boastful, almost as if he has done this before. But the most disturbing part of this, the man never reveals why he's doing this in the first place. And to this day, no one knows who he is, or at least the public don't. Over the years, many theories have emerged about the video's origins. Some believe this young man was a real-life grave robber, stealing bones for rituals, personal collections, or to sell on a black market maybe, where human skulls can be worth thousands depending on who the person was. But if that were true, why expose his methods on camera though? Others think it has to be a prank, or an edgy stunt by a disturbed teenager from back in the day. Yet, if that's the case, where did he get a real skull? This made many to believe the video is staged. An eerie piece of underground horror, filmmaking designed to blur reality and fiction together. Whether grave robbing for morons is real or not, its creepy tone, the man's jittery and uneasy behavior, its chilling subject matter, all of these have cemented it as one of the internet's most disturbing mysteries. This video's raw, unpolished feel has drawn comparisons to found footage horror films like the Blair Witch Project. If it was staged, why does it feel so disturbingly real? And why has no one ever claimed responsibility for making it too? Years later, I mean, internet sleuths have tried to uncover its origins. Some say since it first surfaced in the early 2000s, spending its life circulating in obscure forms before appearing on YouTube. Others believe it dates back to the late 80s or early 90s. Shit, it's possibly a lost VHS tape that was never meant for public consumption. Rumors suggest a second tape exists though, offering more details, but no such footage has ever surfaced. The man's identity remains unknown to this day, leaving many to question the authenticity of this guy.